Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Hey there, Rulers. DMO73 here, bringing you the deck list for the Magna Stances list that you saw me play last week. Sorry for the delay in getting you this list. It is kind of a surface level take on what Magna can do. There's certainly a lot of different ways that you could build this deck. You can build it as an altar deck, you can build it as like an early game combo deck, you can build it as a control deck. I wanted to try to kind of make use of most of the cards that are Prologue of Ataraxia that kind of go along with Magna, what he's trying to do, or what he has the capability of doing. But this is obviously just a starter list. A lot of fun to play, but certainly something that's more for the local level than anything on the high-end competitive. So obviously Magna on our front, we have that ability to have strangers in our main deck. We only have a few strangers, but the ones that we have are super, super good. And then when you flip him, he gets a stranger into play automatically. And then that god art of just being able to wipe the board and lock your opponent out. Pretty awesome. Usually the thing that I'm trying to get the most off of him is Honier. The idea being you Judgment Magna, you get Honier into play, therefore locking your opponent out of being able to play spells for the rest of the turn and stealing a creature. Then when you go into your opponent's turn, you do God Art, wipe everything except Magna and Honier off the board, lock your opponent out for another turn, and then you go into your turn, and once again, your opponent is locked out. So then you just get to swing in, put at least 2,700 damage on the board that way if you haven't already done some damage with like Adam Brawley and stuff like that, and usually that ends the game. So stone base wise, we're playing 4 Ataraktia's Memoria, 2 Magic Stone of Gusting Skies, and then 2 Ruler's Memoria. So we don't want to hit Ruler's Memoria too often, but it is nice to have that extra 5 color stone. Because if you don't hit a Genesis and you hit this stone, it can be really frustrating. The Gusting Skies is primarily because we want access to the stances very consistently, specifically defense stance, as well as being able to play Awakening of the Winged Lord quickly. Going into the main deck, playing 4 Adam Brawley. This guy is your main kind of engine, I guess. The thing you're going to be cheating in the most often with resistance, gets you a lot of value in terms of recovering stones, getting you to burn stuff off the field, gain life, draw cards. Just does a lot of work in this deck, alongside with the resistance spell to be able to draw into other things, cheat in things like Nidhogg or Adam Brawley, or even a Behemoth. Lots of fun there. Stranger package, we're playing 1 Ishtar. We have a lot of strangers in the grave. This is a really good enter effect to hit off of Grand Cross Reincarnation. Kronos is also nice off of Grand Cross because you lock your opponent out of something for the turn, and just by himself is a great grab to, again, potentially lock your opponent down a little bit. Honier, for what we just talked about. Blue Wizard is a nice cancel. Undine is a great way to recycle your stances, typically final stance or defense stance or whatever, just so that you can consistently keep casting them over and over and over again, kind of. And then lastly, another kind of redirect for Freya. And then we're playing 4 Genesis. Obviously, it's his Regalia. 4 copies, just 3 copies of Awakening, because this can grab you a lot of different stuff. It can grab you Genesis, Defense Stance, Origin of the. It can grab you Velsivaria, which then gets you a Caduceus, gets you Magic Stance, gets you all kinds of stuff. So this is just a really good card to be able to play. 4 copies of Defense Stance for that cancel. 4 copies of Nidhogg, because if you can cheat him in early with resistance and have a Yggdrasil's Grace, you can just pay 3 will, put out a 12/12 flyer, and steal 4 of your opponent's cards, which is crazy. Which is really nice. At instant speed, no less. 2 copies of Behemoth, kind of the weakest of the 12 apostles, or 12 protective deities, probably the one that's easiest to cut. And then just for fun, we're playing a couple of copies of Origin of the 7 Lands. If game goes long, you get this early. It's a cool little flashy finisher to put all 7 of those tokens in. 2 copies of Velsivaria to make our 12 apostles easier to cast, specifically Adam Brawley, as well as being able to find a Caduceus if we don't already have it. 2 copies of Caduceus, 2 copies of Magic Stance for some additional draw power. I could consider, if you're not wanting to play Origins, you just bump this up to 4 Magic Stances so you can dig through the deck a little bit faster. You could also, as you can see, the deck is 46 cards, so you could easily cut some cards too if you just don't have things that you want to play. 2 copies of Final Stance to be able to take multiple turns, and then a couple of Grand Cross reincarnations. The reason why we're only playing 2 is because you only can cast this card if you have a stranger in hand, and we're only playing a total of 6 strangers, so it gets a little bit wonky there sometimes. But that is the list. Hope you guys liked it. It actually was a ton of fun to play, but again, this is just a very surface level take on what you can do with Magna, so I recommend trying other stuff and letting us know in the comment sections down below how you've been building the creator of Regalia, because man, does he have a lot of options. So until next time, this is DMO73 saying class dismissed.